What is going on, Chiefs Kingdom? Welcome back to another episode of The Kingdom Says. I am your host, as always, Garrett Williams, and I am joined today by my usual co-hosts. We've got Kyle Henning at the top right of the screen. How we doing tonight, Kyle?
Doing great. Back to talk about a bunch of Chief stuff with you guys after a week away from the Super Bowl and going through everything and doing good now. So we'll get into all of that and just kind of ready to talk everything with you guys because we decided to wait for obvious reasons. So
yeah. Also joining us, Arrowhead Tom at the bottom of the screen. How we doing tonight, Tom?
Listen, I'm excited to be here. We just spent a good chunk of time just catching up and talking, and it's good to be live and recording, and good to be here with you guys as always, and ready to talk about the Chiefs and the dynasties and the everything that's on our plate for tonight.
Yeah, we definitely have a lot of good off-season stuff coming for you guys this year, this off-season. We got a lot of Super Bowl conversations still to have, though. If you watched our last Super Bowl episode, that was mostly about the game itself. So in this episode, we're really going to break down kind of the bigger picture stuff and all the other fun stuff that there was to talk about the Super Bowl. Because there's still a lot. There's definitely still a lot when you go back to back for the first time in like 20 some years, and you're the new dynasty in the league in the NFL. And you're shooting for the three-peat now. There's a good amount to talk about still. But before we get into all of that, obviously, like Kyle kind of alluded to, we took a little break. We were going to have an episode later on in last week.
A couple of them, actually.
Yeah, we had some good plans. We had a couple plans in place. Unfortunately, like many of you have probably heard and seen by now, there's an unfortunate shooting at the Chiefs Super Bowl parade shortly after the parade concluded. That one woman lost her life, 22 of them were injured, including about a dozen or so being kids. Super sad situation. Definitely that was not something I think really represents Kansas City. Definitely doesn't want something that represents any kind of football related stuff. And it's unfortunate that we have to talk about that kind of stuff in a day of celebration and whatnot like that was.
It's frustrating.
So yeah, that's obviously why we didn't get an episode out later that week. We kind of wanted to just let things chill a little while.
And I'm sure, I don't know how much people will get into it, but people were affected. People people that were around, people that, there was a potential that I was going to be up there. I decided last minute not to go. So
yeah, a lot of our friends were at the parade. Obviously, a lot of people that we knew that were close to. And it's just a super unfortunate situation that you really hate to see. Like I said, on a day of celebration, celebrating the team, celebrating the city.
Well, it was such a good day before.
Yeah. And something like that, unfortunately, has to.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, and it's just super unfortunate situation. I don't know, Tom. I know you might have some deeper things to say about it.
We talked about this kind of beforehand about what we wanted to say, and I think this is not a political podcast. You guys don't come here to listen to those types of conversations. For a lot of us, sports are a great escape for these things. So I will be brief and just say a couple things. First and foremost, as much as I love that sports are an escape, and when I tell you that, Kansas City is special to me, the Chiefs are special to me, for my mental health. Sometimes they're not always the best, but they are something that have preoccupied me and given me distractions when things are not always great. That there's an unfortunate reality that sometimes we can't continue to ignore bigger issues in our society, and that they will bleed over. And that was a big lesson that I took, was, we do operate from a place of ignorance when we don't necessarily know, when we're not immediately or directly affected by these things. And I think that was a big thing for me to swallow, to think about some of the other instances in our country that have happened that way. So, that's as political as I'll get with it. The other thing I'll say, you know, one of the big themes. I'm very thankful and very blessed to be, you know, with a. It shook me up. I'll just be honest with you guys. And I was in the middle of my workday when it happened, and I had friends that I was trying to check on, and I had a, thankful I had a boss that I could call, and they said, you know, repeatedly they just said, take care of yourself right now, take care of yourself. And I want to encourage anybody who's listening. You know, we're about a week removed now from that, and you know, it's easy. It's kind of wild how quickly we can, as a society and as the news headlines change, you know, we want to move forward. But I just hope that you're taking care of yourselves. And you know, my day job, I work in mental health. I'm always going to advocate for that. There are so many resources for you to reach out to. You know, please do that. Please, you know, reach out to your friends, reach out to your families. Make sure the people you love know that you love them, that you care about them. You know, because we're never promised another minute on this earth. So, but yeah, take care of yourself. And then finally, I just want to say this, you know, absolutely senseless tragedy. Hearing the stories of the woman who did lose her life, sounds like she was a wonderful individual in our community. We talked about pre-show before about, you know, different people that we know that knew her, you know, and it's, I don't say this to say, oh, we should just move on, we should forget. But I want to say this was a day that was supposed to be full of joy, and it was until it wasn't. Yeah. And I want to encourage you all, in the midst of all that darkness and all the bad things that happened. There were so many stories of humans being what Kansas City is about, whether it was the players, whether it was Andy Reid, you know, comforting young kids, Trey Smith. I know some of those guys get a shout out, but even then I've seen stories on social media of, you know, local business owners or people just looking out for each other. And that's what this city is about. And so I don't want to dismiss or say, don't mourn or don't, you know, don't care, but I would say this: there's value in not letting the bad guys take away the good in this world. And you know, they robbed us of those moments. They robbed us of a beautiful human life. They robbed a lot of people of a sense of security and safety. Let's not give them any more than what they've already taken. Let's remember the positives. Let's remember what the community is about. Let's remember what the team we were there to celebrate had done, and let's continue to heal and move forward, and you know, continue to try to shine and be good people in the midst of all this. So that's that. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. I know we're now 8 minutes in, but if you really want to know how I feel, you can always check my Twitter. I've got a lot more opinions on there. But I just want to say that again, take care of yourselves. Let's not let these bad people rob any more than they have already.
That's two parts I kind of wanted to highlight. The only things I would add. They took a lot of the joy and the stuff like that, and it's going to affect a lot of folks that were there, and a lot of people that knew people that were there, and that kind of thing. But to the same extent with some of the other tragedies, we don't want. I don't think that stopping doing those things, the parades, the marathons, the different events that have been affected by these things, stopping those is not something that it allows them control over something and fear of something, and you don't want to allow those things. While now, not to discredit if you have issues or fears of those things because of things that you're affected with, and that's fine, that's perfectly fine. But the general whole to stop doing those things for these reasons, I think would be a mistake. So that's where I would add that. And then you gave some of the shout outs. We talked about the loss of the woman's life, and we really want to make sure we highlight that. And I want to shout out Harrison Butker for doing what he did. He was contacted about them wanting to bury her in the jersey that I believe she was wearing that day, which was his white Harrison Butker jersey, and he stepped up and got them one. A lot of people have shown the really good parts, like Tom talked about. So with the bad, there is the good as well, and that's where we want to kind of leave it and highlight those families. There are tons of ways to help contribute to those families if you would like. The Chiefs have put out links for it for the families. I know there's a couple of different GoFundMe's for the two, or there's multiple families there that have been involved. Some of the children that were wounded have a couple of different ones, but I know the Lopez and the Galvin families both have different ones for them. So if you want to do anything with that, go over and do that, and support that way too. So
yeah, I would just say, like you guys alluded to, hate will never win. We can't let hate be the enemy of good times and joy and celebration and stuff like that. So definitely rest in peace to Lisa Lopez Galvin. And through the rest of this episode, we're going to try to be, like Tom mentioned, a mental escape, a mental retreat. Football is best at that, I'd say. That's one of the great things that brings football and community together. So we're going to do that. We're going to rewind back to the Super Bowl, and we're going to talk a lot about some of the real positive things and the real fun things that there is to talk about that.
Super Bowl 58, right?
Yeah.
See, Tom's wearing the jersey that I was wearing during the Super Bowl, and then I had
jersey. I got the Super Bowl shirt on.
I had to take that off. I was wearing my Derek Thomas jersey during the game, and we got up to that interception that Pat threw in the third quarter, and I was like, okay. Because at halftime, I was like, no, we're good. I'm not going to change the jersey. I'm good with still rocking the DT jersey. We're good. Because I've worn the same jersey for the Super Bowl every year, except for the Tampa Bay year, which I wore Travis's jersey, and I have not worn Travis's jersey for a Super Bowl since. But I've worn Mahomes' jersey every other year that they've won, and I had Derek's on, and I switched to Patrick's after the interception, and we went forward. So, not superstitious, just a little stitious.
It's just a little stitious, I've worn the same hat for every single Super Bowl win, so I can relate. But I was wearing Kelce's jersey; it did pay off tremendously. But like I said,
I can't touch the Kelce jersey during the game and during the Super Bowl. I wore it all season. In basically every win, and almost every time I didn't wear it, we lost.
Yeah,
so that's that.
We just need to talk about quickly how clean the Super Bowl shirt is. Definitely the best one so far. I mean, look at that thing.
I also like the runway hat for this Super Bowl better than the previous ones.
Yeah, that wasn't too bad. I got a new Super Bowl hat on, just a nice black one with the 58 logo.
I really like yours, but as far as all the runway hat designs, like I remember what's the term for it? The Super Bowl in Arizona one, where it was like they had
like the little banners on the end of it. Yeah,
I can't think of the name of it, and I'm freaking Anyway, and then this one though, with the sign and with the whole layout, I thought it was a really clean and really well laid out look for that hat, and it was just a really good.
I'm usually not a huge fan of the Super Bowl hats directly. That's why I always get the basic one that has the side patch on it. But that one did look pretty good. If you got a version that had the logo on straight, because that seems to be, I didn't realize it, but seems to be a very common problem with fanatics.
Man,
the Super Bowl
the NHL,
the logo is just completely crooked.
The NHL has their actual jerseys, sweaters. I can't even call them. They're actually jerseys now. They used to be sweaters. Now they're just crap. They're awful. Yeah. The quality that the players are wearing during the games are awful. Like oh, it's so bad.
Yeah, the merch game, it feels like it's going down and down as it keeps on going. But this shirt's nice. I can't lie. This shirt is nice material. Got the nice ironed on stuff. So I'm happy with it.
The reason yours is straight is because it's so big that they probably couldn't screw it up too bad.
Yeah, this is. I think they just had a basic black Chiefs hat, and then they just put the side patch on it already. Type deal.
You're lucky it didn't come in sideways.
Right. Yeah. The side patch is good. A little big. It's just solid. Solid look to it. The Chiefs logo is pretty centered, I'd say. So good deal.
Logo.
Yeah. I bought this jersey the Saturday before the game, and wore it for the game. So the Chiefs are undefeated in the jersey. I will be saving it for the playoffs next year.
Yep.
I had to buy my replacement. See, DT was the second jersey I had after Gerbach, but it was so small and I wore it so much as a kid that the numbers were actually ripping off of it. But Mitchell and Ness did a whole bunch of authentic throwbacks
Yeah, they did. Those were nice.
And I have one of the DT Mitchell and Ness throwbacks that I got that
I would really like to
replaced
get.
my old DT jersey that I literally wore the front off, which was Mitchell and Ness as a child.
I would really like to get a
Those of you that
DT
don't know,
a
Mitchell and
DT
Ness
Pro
are
Bowl jersey. Those things are sick. That's like
Yeah.
They're
that's
so
one of
hard
the
to
best.
find.
That's one of the elite ones with the old Pro Bowl jersey
Mhm.
designs. Yeah, those are pretty elite.
They're so
But,
hard to find.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so the Super Bowl, obviously, the Chiefs happened to win it. In case you guys are living under a rock, Chiefs won Super Bowl again.
Took a little
back to
while.
back.
Took a
Yeah,
little while. Took an extra quarter. A full
Yeah, sure
extra
did.
quarter.
Full extra quarter, almost 2 extra
Yeah.
quarters, which people didn't realize was even a
Almost.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
by
I didn't
people,
realize
we
that at the
mean
start. I thought,
and by people we mean players on the sideline for the 49ers.
yeah, certain players.
Mhm.
Imagine, I saw, I don't remember whose tweet it was, but it said, imagine being Eric Armstead and finding out the rules at the same time that Ice Spice did in the booth with Taylor Swift.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
ouch.
Kyle Juszczyk, same deal. That was in the
Kyle,
mic.
Yeah.
Kyle was
Didn't
like,
realize.
wait, if we score a touchdown, they get the ball too?
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
doesn't seem fun.
That's gonna be one of the fun things we talk about in this episode. The Super Bowl mic'd up, which always is a absolute great time.
Man, they do such a good job.
and it brought some gems. It sure did bring some gems. I mean, the old "Hey
Oh, yeah.
George,"
Yeah. Hey, George.
"Hey George" will probably be ingrained in everyone's mind for a while. That was pretty
Yeah.
classic. For those who didn't see the mic'd up on that first drive that Christian
I feel
McCaffrey
so
had to
bad for
fumble.
Kittle.
Yeah, George Kittle goes to block George Karlaftis, and
Oh, he
pulls
didn't
up.
go to block. He blocked him originally.
Yeah, I mean, he blocked him, and then he didn't realize the play was over, or play wasn't over. He pulls up, gives him a "Hey George," and as soon as he said that, George just dives underneath him.
George is like,
to get
"Thank you."
to get the fumble recovery, and you see his Kittle like laying on the top of the pile, like, eh. So that was a fun moment. Like you said, all the 49ers players not understand the rules, and then there's a couple of them mid-game who were discounting Mahomes, to say it nicely.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get to receipt time. We'll get to receipt time.
Yeah,
Well,
we got
I'll
some,
say this about the mic'd up. You could tell the difference in the approach to the game, and I think it sums up really well the "Hey George" like thing. But like, I don't want to say one of the teams had been there before, because they'd both been there, but one of them acted like they had been there, and like it was a business trip, right? And that's what Mahomes said, right?
There.
If you treat this like the business trip, I'll bring you back here and we'll have fun.
And the one's had success there, and one's had heartbreak and heartache and
but
trouble.
the "Hey George" one, like, that's football 101. That's day one. You play through the whistle, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I did my job. You're out of the block," and it ends up, really. I mean, if they'd recovered that, there's a good chance.
It looks really bad optically.
It looks pretty bad, man.
Yeah. So
definitely
it sucks because he made the play. George did his job all the way up until he did not do his job, and then
But that's how it is. You got to play through the whistle.
You gotta be aware, and awareness came in later with the foot and the ball and the muff punt, and which wasn't a muff punt, what everybody called a muff punt. Look, there was a focus difference. I don't know that it was a focus difference. I think it was a
mentality difference
and a mentality.
Really.
Well, and there was a couple of things that happened that let a lot of hair out of the balloon, and Dre Greenlaw tearing his Achilles.
That was a tough one. That was tough to watch.
That sucked, man.
The thing that stuck out to me on that, the two things that stuck out to me, the first one was Fred Warner.
Mm-hmm.
You heard it in his voice.
Yeah, he was torn up about it.
Oh no! Just the absolute. He screamed, I think, louder than Dre Greenlaw did, and Dre Greenlaw is the one that tore his Achilles.
Yeah.
He did. And then the shot after him sitting on the bench, in tears, basically. I mean, full tears.
That one, that's just hard to watch. That one wasn't what stuck out. That one, as soon as I saw what happened, I was like, that's going to be cart and tears and sad, and I felt bad for the dude. And you don't want to see it, but I knew once he did it. The other thing that I noticed immediately that stuck out was Patrick pointing it out instantaneously to Nagy and the 57 got hurt over there. it got hurt over there and immediately pointed it out because Oren Burks came into the game, and I feel bad for Oren Burks because
definitely not the same caliber as Green. Yeah,
people are gonna know his name because he got picked on.
Yeah, as soon as Dre Greenlaw exited, Kelce just went off. 9 for 92 yards or something, 93 yards.
He had 8 for 92, and he had 9
right,
for 93.
Yes, he had 1 for 1 before that. Yeah,
but it was, I think Oren's numbers at the end that I saw total given up, he was like 10 for 11 and a whole bunch of yards and a touchdown. It was like, yeah, that makes a huge difference. But it also makes a huge difference when your quarterback in tight games and close games knows exactly how he needs to play to win the game. It's the conversation that I had all year when everybody was, they can't win another Super Bowl. This team can't win a Super Bowl. They can't even get there. They're losing in the first and second round. Was it pretty? Absolutely not. Patrick Mahomes and a chip in a, to use a poker reference, a chip in a chair at the tournament or a chip in a chair at the table is a chip in a chair I'll take the bet to win pretty much every time. And he did it on the road this year. In the most difficult road games, on the most hostile environments. They went to Buffalo, to Baltimore. They beat everybody they needed to beat beforehand. All you have to do at this point, win your division, get in the playoffs, and give Patrick a chance. And as soon as you give him a chance, and you could hear it in the mic'd up, you could see it in the audio, you could see it in the body language of the players. It was almost as if, as that game got longer and that gap was still tight, and it was still back and forth, you almost knew how it was going to end.
Yeah, because basically the entire world saw that. Yeah, as soon as you get Patrick Mahomes the ball back in overtime, it's over.
And it's not even that though. It was before that. Like the game being tied and being knotted up, and you give him 2 minutes because you don't get the first down, it's just time after time. And after a first half where the Chiefs played about as badly as they could have played in the first half, and they were down 3 or 7 at halftime, and then to even come out with their advantage being ball at half and to make a turnover and still not be punished for it. You can't. And I mean, because he's the guy. He's the best. He's not the most decorated. He's not the most accomplished. He's the best quarterback to play the sport. Period. Dot. End of story. Dot. No further comments. Dot. Like, we're done now. He went. Everybody, Tom was great. Tom is very accomplished. Tom is the greatest accomplished of all time, greatest of all time. He's the most decorated. Great. Congrats. Tom Brady won 3 Super Bowls doing Brock Purdy-ish things. For the first 3. And I'm again, and then he developed later and became the assassin of the quarterbacks like we've seen with Patrick. Here's the thing. Patrick did the whole, I got to break the league so badly that now defenses play cover 2 50% of the time, and nobody can throw the ball 17 yards downfield anymore. And went from there, where I have to carry a whole team with a defense that's run by Bob Sutton, to I need to not do too much and get turnovers and give the Raiders 2 touchdowns on Christmas, and we win football games and go win a Super Bowl. He went the other way.
The old check down merchant. You know?
He went nuclear to then go Alex Smith, Tom Brady, and and every other quarterback goes the other direction. Almost every other quarterback we've ever seen ever. What you're watching has never happened before. You can put that start up against anybody in history. Anybody. You're not going to see it. Not the numbers and the awards. not both, not the
Mm.
numbers, the personal accomplishments and the team accomplishments, not all three.
That's
He
pretty
has it
unheard.
all.
I mean, Dan Marino had like all the passing records at the time, and he never
And no
had one.
trophies.
Yeah, he went
Ever.
he went to 1 Super Bowl, I think, his rookie year, and then never went back. I think
Correct.
that's the story goes, and it's
Yes.
like Pat is not only literally breaking every single record as he goes. I mean, there's like that chart that just shows like the passing yards that he just like every year he just slowly just takes over like Drew Brees and all those other guys, and it's like he's doing all of that. Then on top of that, he's also just happens to be like one of the most winningest quarterbacks of all time so far. And
His
3
playoff
Super
career
Bowls.
is an MVP season.
Yeah, his
And he's just
entire
getting
like,
Not
He's like-
close.
yeah, he's like what 15-3 in playoffs, I believe is the stat, and he has like
he's-
over 5,000 yards, a ridiculous amount of touchdown to interception ratio. And it's an
Against
MVP
the best
season.
defenses.
Yeah, it's
Against-
an MVP season for literally anybody. And that's his playoff record.
But against the best of the best, because it's the playoffs.
Yeah,
and-
and especially this year. I mean, this year is the cream of the crop, pretty much.
And he
Is
didn't
the-
have crazy numbers this year, but he also didn't have the weapons and didn't have the stuff. And you know what? They did every bit of what he got.
They
He
did it.
squeezed every ounce and every drop out of everything that they had, and they won.
Mhm.
And that's the other part of being a quarterback. When you don't have, we heard the knocks against him. Oh, he's got all these weapons. He's got Tyreek and Travis, and they've got 1,400 weapons and this and that. Well, he didn't 2 years in a row now because they traded Tyreek Hill and built a defense. And
I don't think
guess
that's ever
what?
been done before. Trade the best one of the best receivers in their prime and win 2 Super Bowls after that. I don't know if the Patriots did that.
well, that's a Brett Beach conversation, which we'll get to with the legacy stuff. But for the Mahomes portion of it, he's the best we've ever seen play it, and that makes people uncomfortable and angry, and people don't want to see him win. And guess
Yeah.
what?
I think people are a little
You
angry.
need to enjoy it, because this is the stuff, man. And he's now in the realm. He's the only guy that's anywhere close to him besides Tom Brady, even from a let's keep stats standpoint, is Montana.
Yeah.
So I'll say this, and I think give a shout out to Josh from Kingdom Recon, Josh Wingate. He said it this way, and this conversation made me think of it. If you took all of the players in NFL history and we were starting over, every roster's empty and it's a draft, and you have the first pick, any quarterback you have, whatever, you're drafting them as the rookie. The person you're taking is Pat Mahomes, period.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And you could make arguments, you could have preferences, but the person that the logical people are going to take, who don't have some weird vendetta, is Patrick Mahomes. I understand you could argue Tom Brady, whatever, but in terms
If
of
you get to take him when he's 28 or 30.
Yeah, but just in terms
Well,
of being
Jim Kelly went to
everything-
4 straight Super Bowls, though. Jim Kelly,
everything you
that's
want
all
him to
that
do in a quarterback, to adapt his game, to be mobile, to be clutch. We don't talk about how clutch this man is, right? Like, just
I mean, it's actually
I'm glad you mentioned that, Tom.
ridiculous.
bring up
I'm
the
glad
numbers,
you
Tom.
mentioned-
Bring up the numbers. I know you
I'm
saw the
glad
same
you
numbers
mentioned
I
that,
did.
Tom.
Yeah.
I want to give a shout out to who put this up.
Is it the
tweet
charts?
is from yes. The
Yeah.
tweet is from
Yeah.
Rohan_K101. Says Grim Reaper is the title, and then the credit is to Lev at LEVAKABAS. It's a chart for Patrick Mahomes plays way better in the clutch. Are we
Yep.
ready for the numbers here, kids?
Yep.
So his total EPA per play, he's at the top of it in the first quarter and in the second quarter and the third quarter, and he's pretty close to the top of it, and he's in probably the second grouping in the last from 15 minutes to 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And then in the last 5 minutes in overtime, he's a full point ahead of the next closest person in EPA per play.
Yep.
in the last 5 minutes of the fourth quarter in overtime.
For the next one.
Then which is bonkers, by the way. Moving 0.1 in EPA on a
That's a
chart
pretty
like
big
that
jump.
is.
I mean, if you would see the chart, it's about this much of a difference between him and the next guy.
I mean,
Yeah.
to put it in perspective, that means every 10 plays he adds a point.
One
over
more point
his next closest guy.
Yeah. Which is
roughly.
wild.
Which is Looney Tunes. So Patrick Mahomes plays his best when he's losing. The EPA per play with it, and this is done with win probabilities.
Yes.
He's at about 0.2 in the 75 to 95% win probability.
Yeah, top
So,
of the pack.
Top third, not crazy, pretty top 10. Cool.
Yeah.
50 to 75% winning percentage, and this is getting progressively smaller here. So I should say 75 to 50.
Right.
He jumps a full point. Again, 0.1 in that category to 0.3.
Top of the pack. Top of the pack with a small margin in front of the next person, but a margin.
So then we move to 50% to 25%, and he goes just a little bit higher above the 0.3 line, and the gap widens to almost 3/10 of or 3/4 of a 0.1 there. So about 0.075 increase.
Yeah.
You go to 25% to 5% chance to win the game.
Yeah. Guy has a less than 25% chance to win the game per stats.
Patrick Mahomes' EPA per play is 0.32. The next closest is nearly a full point at like 0.2 and some change under him.
Pretty significant gap. Pretty significant gap from the next best and the rest of the pack. I mean,
the last and final chart that is here is his play on third and fourth down. So the first down chart, he's just under 0.2 and right at the top echelon of the league again, but just kind of lumped there. Peyton Manning, and this is, by the way, these are some all-time numbers because Peyton Manning is in here, so he's
Peyton
still
Manning,
way up when I say not the top third. It's not top third of like the 32 guys this year. It's top third of like ever. This second down, Mahomes and it looks like Purdy are basically next to each other on second down at 0.2.
Shout out Brock Purdy, good second down player.
Third and fourth down, Mahomes is nearly 0.5 on the EPA per play, 0.4 and some change. The next closest is 0.31-ish, so almost a full 0.15 point per play.
Point and a half.
Yeah,
that's a pretty big gap. Pretty big gap.
There's every time you look at charts with him and clutch and him and this and him, it never ends. He's always at the top right. It's always. The same conversation. To continue head down this EPA route. My dad sent me one from today of notable QB's first 6 years as a starter, and it's him, and the next closest guy was Aaron Rodgers, and there's like this much space between their lines on the chart, and it's a line chart, and you know you continue it out, and it gets progressively worse every single chart you look at. He's just better.
He is, as the kids say.
So obviously, it's inevitable. He's inevitable because of
it is
the body language, man. The emotions of the game started on the mic'd up with them talking about how much fun the game was going to be. One of the most telling clips was sitting there, and I think it was late fourth quarter, right when overtime starts, and Nick Bosa is sitting on the bench with an oxygen mask. This isn't fun.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah. This isn't a fun, joyous vacation. This is the Super Bowl, guys. Like, this isn't going to be a fun time. This is going to be a war. This is what it's going to be.
And
it was fun for one person, team.
And we talked about the difference between the two teams and kind of the approach it felt like and the mentality. Like I said, the Niners came out with so much energy, and they were really, really about it. But they were really about it, and it didn't ever lead to much. And they didn't capitalize off of what they had opportunities with. And if you leave food on the table, and you leave the door unlocked, it's gonna be gone.
Yep.
And Patrick and the Chiefs defense walked in, grabbed the food, and left. And Kyle Shanahan has some
Mm.
things
His
to
he's
discuss.
Kyle
with
Shanahan
himself,
is going to
with
go
his
down
players.
as one of the greatest coaches, I think, in NFL. Well, at least he'll be in the top echelon of head coaches, but he has had some
Andy
numerous
Reid kept
times
him
where
on his
he's,
Andy Reid track. So
yeah, I mean,
he
he is
didn't
on the
lose it.
Andy Reid track of losing your first couple
Mhm.
bouts in the big game, and as he gets older, he'll probably, hopefully, for Niners fans and anybody else, kind of get over that hump. But yeah, it is unfortunate that he's now done 3 receiving ends of some Super Bowl comebacks.
He's blown double-digit leads in every Super Bowl he's been in. Whether he's been the offensive coordinator or the head coach, they've blown
that's not
double-digit leads.
ideal. That is not ideal.
The legacy from Mahomes is cemented. He could retire today, and he would be a Hall of Famer.
Yeah,
Done in the story.
Concept, probably even the number 1 player of all time in an overall redraft. I think you're taking Mahomes just for the talent purposes and just the pure
everything
just
you've seen.
Yeah, everything you've seen, and it ain't slowing down, folks. I hate to break it to you, but it ain't slowing down anytime soon, unless
it's part of the legacy thing. It's the continuation.
15 more years.
They talked about it as soon as this one ended. The field celebration had Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes talking about 3, but they had to get 2 first.
Yeah, they didn't even touch the Super Bowl trophy yet, and they're like, "Yeah, all right, well, I guess we're gonna do this next year and just 3-peat." Yeah,
what?
It's like,
I want a third. Yeah, just
unreal to think about.
That was the goal from the start. This year, and we talked about. It looked like there was points in time this year where they looked frustrated or like they were ready to be towards the end of the year already, where they were kind of just
vibes were off
over it, and vibes were not great. And why are we just ready to play games that we actually want to play? And it's hard for a team that's won a lot and played more football than anybody else has ever played in a 5-year stretch now, or so 6-year stretch now. And to do
also won more games than anybody else in that stretch.
And to do these
like
things,
90 wins in that stretch, and there's 69 wins is the next closest. Pretty crazy.
And to have a bunch of young guys too, it's a lot to do that week in and week out. But the legacy stuff matters. And we asked about, can teams turn it on? Most teams cannot flip switches. See the Eagles, see the Cowboys, see some of the other teams that struggle when it comes time to turn, or that struggled this last year when they needed to flip a switch when things started to go sideways or bad, and there was no switch to flip. Chiefs have the switch to flip, and they had it this year. And good to great teams have the ability to do those kind of things and play their best when it matters most. And so far, Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid and Spagnuolo teams, and I said all those names for a reason, do that year in and year out. And the personnel has changed. The names have changed. The faces have changed in a lot of instances. Patrick's the old guy, one of the old guys on the team. He's one of the most tenured Chiefs.
Yeah.
So it's impressive to watch what he's done with the growth and the adjustment of his game, but also in comparison to the team's development and the different ways they've asked him to play. People, you got guys that were winners. Remember, you used to hear all the time about how Tim Tebow was a winner. Well, Tim Tebow was a winner, but didn't have the talent to get it done at the NFL level.
Yeah, need both of them. Need both of those things to work well, and Patrick Mahomes sure dang does. Sticking on the player conversation, because obviously there's a couple other players that have some really insane legacies here at stake. Travis Kelce, I think, being one of those guys, obviously one of the couple other people on the team to have 4 or 3 rings now. I think at this point, I don't know how much more there is to talk about Travis Kelce. I think anyone with a brain knows that he is the number 1 tight end of all time. It shouldn't even be much of a comparison. People really like to bring up the Gronk conversation, but it's just Kelce is just on a whole different level than anybody else has been. So we can touch on him just a little bit if you guys have some comments on
Travis?
Travis.
Yeah. When you
Go.
want to go, Tom?
What do you? We've said
Yeah.
it all. There's
Not
not
much.
much.
Not much else to
Oh.
say.
Oh,
It's just
I
like
mean,
okay. And
now
I mean,
he's
there's
the
plenty to
biggest
say because
superstar in the world.
no, because I don't want to do that too much because guys, it's him and Jerry Rice.
Yeah.
When you're breaking Jerry Rice records, that's crazy. That's some crazy stuff.
It's
Yeah.
postseason receiving records. I didn't say tight end. I said receiving records.
Yeah.
Any player that catches the ball, it's him and Jerry Rice, and in a lot of categories, it's him and then Jerry Rice.
Yeah, he is now past most of Jerry Rice. Or not most, but at least a
Uh,
couple of them for sure.
A lot of a couple of the significant ones that a lot of folks thought would never be touched.
Yeah,
And
that's what
by
happens
the
when you're-
way, he set a career postseason high in yardage at age 34 when everybody said he didn't look good this year. And you're right, he didn't look good. He almost
just
blew his
saving it
knee
up.
out in the first week of the season.
He was just saving all that energy up. I will.
He was
so
healthy. He was not healthy all year.
Yeah.
He's
And
the
he had a
healthiest
couple
he'd been
weeks to
at
rest.
the end of the year because he got the rest that he was able to get instead of catching it for 16 more yards like we all wanted him to. He did the
Yep.
team thing, not the individual thing, which is what he's always done.
So-
Always. That's the other reason he's a Hall of Famer is the stuff. Look, he gets paid nothing compared to what he should be paid. Let's be real honest.
Yeah, but he's got a
about Travis
Travis
Kelce's
now. That's all good.
That's fine. But when he made those deals, he didn't have a sugar mama. No offense to Kayla.
he was in a lot of ads. He was in a lot of commercials.
Hey, man, he also has earned a lot of that because the stuff he's done off the
Yeah.
field with the podcast
Yeah.
and everything else and the growing the brand. But
I mean, Travis ain't hurting for
overall-
money. Let's not
No,
get that
but
confused.
but let's be
Yeah.
100% honest. He is not remotely the highest paid tight end in the NFL, and he is by far the best tight end in the NFL. It's not even close.
I mean, Travis knew the long game. A lot of these tight ends, or a lot of just players in general, the whole goal is you shoot for the one big contract, your first big contract, and then
Patrick
there
and
you
win.
go.
No, I'm
Travis
good here.
has gotten multiple smaller contracts. It's obviously made him a very wealthy individual, but he is obviously, like I said, been a team player. Definitely realized like, hey, take it a little less, get everybody else a piece of the pie. Be on the best team in NFL history with the best quarterback, the best head coach.
He saw the quarterback and said, "I don't want to leave."
Yeah, I don't think I would want to leave either if you have 15 throwing you the ball. So
You would think.
Travis Kelce,
We've seen people do it.
Yeah, Travis Kelce, he will forever be cemented, I think, and as a all-time great, another walk-in Hall of Famer right now.
Well, so here, and this is, so those two, I'm like, I don't even know. Here's the other one who I think punched his ticket to Canton without question. I've not heard a lot of people. Chris Jones, 3 Super Bowl rings. He's been the best defender on all three of those teams. Like,
that was a conversation today, I think, actually.
The man's going to Canton. And I understand that this is the era of Aaron Donald, but Chris Jones.
He doesn't need a DPOY in your mind?
He does not need a DPOY.
The DPOY, yeah.
I'm just asking the questions here.
I think he's had seasons where he's deserved it, but I don't think that he needs it.
I mean, multiple first-team All-Pros, that's...
Yeah, first-team All-Pros. And like I said, you're the best defensive player on 3 Super Bowl rosters.
Yeah. I think Chris Jones will easily go down probably as one of the most underrated players of NFL history, and partly just because, like you said, it's in the Aaron Donald era. So he's obviously taken a lot of the shine, but I mean, the second best defensive tackle and obviously better now, I think, than Aaron Donald, and it hasn't even been close.
That's
Chris
not a
Jones.
question.
Yeah. And now that he has the 3 rings to back it up, and, we'll dive into the offseason in a future episode, but he might be going for the 3-peat too now, folks. He might be going for the 3-peat as well.
About a little bit because it was at,
Yeah, he said at the parade, which, hey, we gotta hold him to that. That's a legally binding contract right there.
His agents didn't want to legally bind anything to that.
Yeah, but that was a big conversation today. And I think with having this third ring under his belt, he's gotten a lot more appreciation. And I think
I don't disagree with y'all, but I just worry is, I guess, more of my statement. I think he should probably be in at this point. I get concerned that he doesn't have even a second or a third place finish really in the Defensive Player of the Year voting. First team All Pros are nice; those are great.
he was in the conversation.
He needs an all decade. He needs an all decade team probably here out of this decade, which, because Aaron Donald really hasn't been that great this decade so far. It was mostly last decade that Aaron Donald was an animal. Chris Jones has a chance to do the all decade thing in the 2020s. If he continues his play for another year or two. I think he's in, but I think what Garrett alluded to with the underrated portion of Chris Jones also has a factor here. And while Kansas City knows and appreciates Chris Jones, he doesn't have eye-popping postseason counting statistics. He doesn't have DPOYs. He doesn't have the big name recognition award stuff. So it's just something to keep in mind. If he takes a little while to get in, I won't be stunned.
Right. And his career,
unless he adds more to his resume, and then
let's say it's kind of funny to think about. It's like bro's only 29 years old still.
I was
gonna
say, I'm talking about him like he's 37. He's 29.
He can easily play another 5-6 years and rack up some of that. But I mean, 2 first team All Pros, 5 Pro Bowls. He had a couple votes for Defensive Player of the Year last year. I think, like I said, with the Super Bowl conversation and just the playoff stuff, the impact that he's had on those teams, obviously being the best defensive player,
just all the
part
NFL
of that
Hall of
dynasty
Fame voters that I worry about.
We'll see.
I'm doing research now to see.
That conversation will be had a lot more in 10 years when he's up for that. But I think he's on track for sure. I think he's definitely on track. Another guy who I would say is on track, Mr. Isaiah Pacheco. We got to talk about this man for a second because I'm just saying, Matt McMullen released a stat this morning, or yesterday, I think actually it was pretty crazy. There have been 4 players in NFL history to have at least 75 scrimmage yards in each of their first 7 career postseason games. Emmitt Smith, Terrell Davis, Frank Gore, and Isaiah Pacheco are the 4 people who have had over 75 yards in their first 7 playoff games. Pacheco's the only one who's won all 7 of them, by the way. So that's pretty good. The first running back in NFL history to win 2 Super Bowls in their first 2 seasons, I'm pretty sure. Absolutely ridiculous.
It's definitely a small group if he's not the only one.
I think
he's got to be the only one that contributed that much. He has to be the only one that contributed that much that early.
I think there was I'll have to double check the stats, but his legacy already is building, and we cannot understate the value that he has had to this team the past 2 years.
It helps. Running backs are tricky, especially in today's NFL. With that, he's definitely forwarded his legacy. Rings are going to help him, but he's got some work to do, and they've got to be willing to give him the ball enough to get some of the things he's going to have to check off to get a jacket.
Yeah, he was the first running back to start and win 2 Super Bowl titles in his first 2 seasons. So.
And that's awesome. To get jackets as a running back in this era,
I know it's a little early, but listen. Bro's gonna be a dog.
You're gonna have to be special to get a running back in the.
I'm just saying,
the league doesn't value running back era.
2024. I was the first one to say it. Maybe I might be the first one to say it. So
I think there's some young guys that you have a legitimate conversation though that I think is actually funny that you bring that up. That are on one of them's on the other side of the ball that we'll get to.
There's a couple guys. Another guy that we had to mention in this whole 3-ring conversation. Kyle's very own Mr. Mecole Hardman. I'm just saying the Chiefs never won a Super Bowl before Mecole Hardman was drafted. So
I like Mecole. I think he's a good dude. I mostly defend Mecole because of the hate for him has been insane. The expectations were set to a level for him that were never realistic, and I've said that from the beginning, which is why I've been so staunch on like You guys are losing your mind. What are we talking about here? And then we saw this year what receivers put up when he was like some of the other guys that people were giddy that were replacing McColl this year when McColl left originally. McColl outperformed in the one playoff game. The Super Bowl. He had more statistical counting statistics in the Super Bowl that mattered than one or two of those guys did all season. So, like, it's not to victory lap, but also the conversation that he was a problem for the conditional six, that we were somehow losing something and not getting anything in return and whatnot. And he wasn't.
We were pretty upset about that.
I said for the whole time, even when he got hurt, I said, he's going to come back. They have a role for him. They didn't trade a pick for him for nothing. Brett Veach knows what he's doing. They have a reason that they have a deficiency in an area that they're used to having, and they trust him to do that role. Well, he caught the deep ball because it wasn't an Arrowhead at night and he could see it.
Yeah.
You know who didn't see it? The DB who thought the ball was going to Travis Kelce or was going to land like 7 yards short and instead landed in McColl's lap.
Which, by the way, that throw was, I think we talked about it a little bit. That throw was crazy. I mean, it was thrown. That ball was thrown opposite hash from like the 33-yard line or something.
70 yards.
Yeah, it's like over. I mean, I think it's over 70 yards with the distance that it went. I was trying to calculate it out exactly. I never got quite that far.
The reception was 52 yards, I think.
Yeah. Okay.
And Travis and Patrick was about 10 to 12 yards behind the line of scrimmage. He was also about 10 yards or 12 yards.
I mean, yeah, he was almost at the left numbers, and McColl caught it basically at the right numbers.
Left of the snap, and McColl was about 7 yards right of where the snap took place. So no, there's probably 80 or 90 air yards there, which
at least 80. I think it really does calculate out to about 80. It's an absolutely ridiculous throw.
You're not. And then I saw people like, yeah, that was a bad throw, and I'm like, okay, well, sure.
I don't know.
But McColl made the catch and he made the play, and
crazy enough.
Well, because he saw the ball, and he's not the only receiver that's had trouble with lights in Arrowhead at night. I remember Tyreek Hill having trouble with lights in Arrowhead.
Well, everybody.
And I remember Demarcus Robinson having trouble with lights in Arrowhead at night. Like, it's the theme.
It's actually statistically, it's harder to catch.
One of the harder places to catch the ball at night. It's crazy.
But, I mean, hey, what do we do to fix that? I mean, come on. Put a dome.
Yeah, something we should definitely look at.
Not getting into the stadium conversation.
Or, build a new stadium downtown. I hear that goes over
downtown.
I don't think he's going to extend a legacy on the national level. But those plays in that game for McColl in Kansas City change a whole lot of things.
Yeah, I agree. And
you can now not have, like, he's contributed to 3 rings.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Major plays, major things, major moments in all 3 rings, including one of the major moments in the Houston game of making a mistake and then atoning for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, everything that's been said, everything that he's dealt with, all the crap he's caught, he's lived up to every bit of a second-round draft pick, guys. He's helped you win 3 rings. He's put up 500, 600, 700 yards of varying varieties over multiple seasons. He's been.
So we can't judge draft picks after like 1 or 2 years.
Oh my God!
Long-term effects. Turns out it might pay off down the road, very far down the road.
McColl has done everything that has been asked of him. Has he done it perfectly? No. Has he made mistakes? Absolutely. Would he like some things back? I'm positive of it. He's done everything that he needed to do. And he's got 3 rings. And he has the game winner in overtime on a back-to-back team.
Yeah, that is a pretty crazy part. Okay, a couple other guys we should touch on quickly here. I don't want to go our episode to go into like 2-hour range, but we're getting there. We're almost at the hour mark. But Cal, you mentioned a couple other players on the defensive side of the ball who might need to get a little bit of flowers.
You're jumping. I think Joe Tooney deserves some conversation.
Okay, yeah, that's true. Fair enough, because he has 3 rings now as well.
Yeah.
Uh,
Patriots ring, correct?
The thing is, he was just with the Patriots for one of the rings.
Right,
yeah.
and now he's got 2.
The past 2
Yeah,
here.
and-
Yeah.
And he's done it.
Yeah, that's
he's done
one
it
where I worry about the
consistently.
voters.
I know. In guards, it sucks. And I'm not necessarily talking about Canton because it's been awful for linemen to get into Canton. Like,
Yeah.
awful. Now, he's got some individual awards. I think he has an All-Pro or 2, doesn't he?
Let me double check on that.
I'm pretty sure he's got a couple of All-Pro, 1 or 2 All-Pros.
He was All-Pro this year.
I thought he got one in New England, too.
That was his first All-Pro.
He's definitely Pro Bowler in New England.
He was a second team All-Pro
in New England. That's what it was.
Yeah.
So, but that and
2
second
Pro
team.
Bowls.
Hold on. Second team All-Pros do matter to HOF voters. They do count.
Yeah, that's a big thing still. I mean,
like that.
There's only like 2 All-Pro guards every year. So I mean, first team All-Pro.
He's now been a linchpin in an offensive line for 2 of the greatest quarterbacks of all time to win rings, and he's won 3 rings with those guys.
That's pretty good.
One of the highest paid guards. He's recognized as such for a reason. He's a machine. He up until the pec injury and whatnot, he had basically missed minimal to no snaps throughout his career. He's very hardly ever, and those are all things for an offensive lineman that they count, that matter. Those longevity things for linemen, and he's also been very good as far as the not giving up sacks and crap like that. So
I mean, actually, I guess he had missed 2 games last year. I don't know.
Maybe.
He's not missed many games.
Yeah, I think it was the Cincy game or something along. Remember, because Orlando got hurt and then he got banged up or something happened in that.
I think he missed 2 games last year. That's the only 2 games.
But he very rarely ever, if ever, misses time.
And actually, he actually has 2 second team honors, 2019, 2022, and then first team this year.
He's also known for playing injured and hurt, like just playing.
Yeah, and the versatility. I mean, he's had, like I said, move around to tackle if they needed him. He's actually a 4-time Super Bowl champ. I'm tripping.
I couldn't remember if it was 4 or not. I thought.
I didn't realize he was at New England for as long as he was. Yeah, he was there for 5 years.
New England. I thought so.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's 4 times.
4 rings, 2 each with 2 of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, 2 of the greatest franchises of all time.
That's pretty good.
He's got a chance at Canton. He needs to probably do a little more, but as far as cementing himself in Chiefs lore, he's there. That's done. That will be a name that people remember helped protect Patrick. And
definitely, there's gonna be a lot of names to remember.
Well, and Creed and Trey and the whole line in the middle there. That whole
fortress
middle 3.
Built.
That middle 3. Yeah, that middle 3 is they're doing. And Trey Smith, for the things that we talked about with Trey Smith this year. What he did to some folks down the playoff run was just mean.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hey, man.
I think he got a couple of penalties for holding just because he beat the guy so bad. I was like, that's not holding. He just, never mind.
That happens sometimes.
He just destroyed him.
That's assault, but it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Defensive side, there's a couple other guys.
Justin Reed's made a name. He's got 2 now, and it's not NFL made a name, but Kansas City, he's established. He's been the mouthpiece on that defense now public mouthpiece for 2 years. He's the guy that they brought in to replace Justin Reed or to replace Tyrann Mathieu. He's done a lot of things for that team, and he played his best football this stretch run, I think, probably ever, especially the Baltimore game.
Yeah,
it's hard because there's so many. I mean, Justin's an interesting conversation, but there's so many young guys on that defense now who have 2 rings.
He needs some
I know,
credit.
so spoiled. Like,
right, but I think the reason that Justin need more conversation is what you just said, Tom. That secondary group is a bunch of kids.
Yeah, I don't know.
And now, like I said, I don't think Justin right now has a conversation all time. He doesn't. He does not. Let's be real. But
Yeah.
for legacy things, it's not always the NFL legacy. This is a Chiefs legacy thing for me with Justin Reed.
Yeah.
The way he played this year in the playoffs cemented his role in the Chiefs' 2 rings in these 2 seasons, and that addition to the dynasty and to the run.
Yeah, I mean, I think just thinking again the young guys and the number
we can
Nick
do that.
Bolton,
Go ahead.
2 rings, Trent McDuffie. I mean, half our
That's
secondary
the
2
one.
for 2.
That's the guy.
2 for 2. Yeah.
Trent is 2 for 2. I believe he's 2 for 2 in Pro Bowls because didn't he get a Pro Bowl as a rook?
I think so.
Yeah, well, I don't know. They didn't have to attend them. I know that much.
And he also has the first team All-Pro as the slot corner this year. He, as Kurt Warner put it, if
I don't
it
think he
weren't
actually
for
has
Patrick,
a official Pro Bowl selection.
He hasn't had the option to play in the Pro Bowl. He's been in the
but I
Super
no,
Bowl.
that's right. I know he got
think
snubbed this year
that.
because all of them got snubbed this year in the Pro Bowl.
Yeah, they
I
got
thought he
first
got
team
one
All-Pro
in
this
the
year.
I thought he
So
got one in his rookie year.
No, yeah, he did get first team All-Pro though this year. So,
but he did get a first team which is, by the way, why the Pro Bowl being a countable thing.
exactly. That's the one that matters is all pros.
Trent now, he's. I love Legarius, but I think Trent McDuffie's the best corner on this team. He's not the most physical, but technical corner on this team. I think I'm taking Trent in that category.
I mean, they're a hell of a 1-2 punch. That's
they
what
are,
we can say
and I
for
love
certain.
that Legarius called him his twin. But
that was cool. Yeah,
look, man, Trent has a chance to be tremendously special, and if you're tremendously special,
sure.
yes, but if you're tremendously special for a dynastic team as a shutdown corner, you go to Canton. That's just
imagine
the
if
rules.
Revis was on the Patriots' entire career.
Them's the rules. If you're a shutdown corner for a dynasty team, you go to the Hall of Fame.
You probably got a good bid for Canton.
That's just how it goes.
We will see what happens with the contract situation with Snead. I think that they're both. You're splitting a hair, but because they're both
different,
elite in different ways.
Yeah.
And that's
different.
where again
that makes me laugh because they're so different.
That variety is what makes it valuable because you can mix and match, and you can change from zone to man or move those guys around.
Yeah, I definitely don't think you want to split the Twins up yet, but that'll be a whole offseason conversation with potential. Yeah.
Here's what I was thinking: they can do this. No, I'm kidding. I was
okay. Okay. Come on, Tom. I just said we're not doing it. Come on. But there's a lot of guys who have definitely been spoiled with Super Bowl appearances so far. George Karlaftis has 2 as well. I think he's the only starting defensive end as well who has 2 Super Bowls in the first 2 years starting.
He keeps stacking 10-sack seasons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
he'll be a Jared Allen type.
Well, let's also
but he has jewelry.
Jared Allen has jewelry. Jared Allen, yeah.
Yeah. These young guys on the defense, Chris Jones is the only one with 3 rings on this defense, unless I'm blanking.
No, that would be the only one.
Because I think
no, Derek Nottie.
Yes.
Derek Nottie. Yeah, that's
Derek
true.
Nottie technically has 3 rings.
And I believe Legarius was drafted the year after.
Legarius was after. So Legarius is 2 for 3.
Yeah. Mike Edwards only has 2.
So
Mike Pennell has
Mike
2.
Edwards has the Tampa Bay ring also.
Yeah, big Mike Pennell has 2 of them. Can't forget him.
Big Mike, man. That dude.
To me, that's wild. Steve was just like, "Yo, Mike, what you doing?
Come on in here.
Yep, get up off the couch."
Well, they had him on the practice squad like Halloween. They were probably like, "Hey, man, get in shape. Come to practice. Figure out what we're doing. We'll talk to you.
We're gonna need you. We're gonna need you to dominate the best left tackle in the game.
We're gonna need you to body Trent Williams a couple times."
We talk about legacy stuff.
Yeah.
That hurt some Niner legacies, but we won't go down that road.
Yeah.
That hurt some Niner legacy stuff.
Yeah.
They had some guys with some things on the line, and that hurt them.
Let's give that credit to Brett Veach for really overhauling an entire defense.
Yep.
Yeah.
With starters, literally with starters.
Twice. I mean, he's done it twice if you really think about it. Like, he overhauled it in 2019, won a Super Bowl, and then overhauled it again in 2022 and won 2 Super Bowls.
It's like, well, 2019 was like when you have a flat on your tire and you patch that and you duct tape it to get to the next gas station. And then
I mean, I think it was a little more. I think it was a little more than that. I mean, a completely new defensive coordinator. A completely new defensive coordinator and scheme. I mean, come on.
Being coordinator is one thing, but the 19 rebuild was I don't have a lot to work with. I got a lot of stuff I got to figure out. I need to patch.
Trade for Frank Clark. You signed Tyrann Mathieu. I mean, you have a whole new defensive coordinator. I think we're undermining that
up as best as I can.
I think we're underselling that transformation.
He also used Anthony Hitchens and who's the other?
Reggie Ragland, dogs. Yeah, come on, Damian Wilson,
no disrespect, but let's be honest. He took. Listen, it's like this. That 2019.
I mean, obviously, it was his first year, or like really his second year of like full. He didn't draft a bunch of guys, but we gotta give Brett Veach credit for a very overhaul of 2019.
For sure,
he did it. But what you mean by twice is
it was a different way, but it was
right. Yeah. One was not a permanent fix.
Yeah. I mean, he overhauled it for a 1 year. No. Really, they shot for a 3-year window with that overhaul, and they only got one out of it. And then the second overhaul was obviously a lot better, drafting a bunch of young guys, building from within. But 2019, he still did a good job. I don't want to undersell that too much. Come on.
Again, I'm not saying he did a bad job, but they were very different approaches. Like we're saying, it was a patch job versus a full-on fix. It was we have to fix this as best.
I mean, I think he at least got the donut. I think he at least got the donut on. I think he took
okay.
Oh, for sure. No. Listen, this is what it's
he at least took the tire off, put a donut on, got it down the rest of the road trip, and then
2019. He handed Spagnuolo the keys to a functional, moderately high miles, 2010 Toyota Corolla. And then he said, "Hold on, big guy." And then a couple years later, now he's got a Ferrari. Spags is driving around a brand new, sparkly, and that's very.
I might categorize it as a Rolls Royce truck if we're being honest. I mean,
whatever vehicle we would like, but he's got more depth and more skill on this defense than we've seen in Kansas City in a long time. But speaking of legacies, obviously Andy Reid, Steve Spagnuolo is getting love. I think we talked about he got a contract extension, so he gets recognized. Dave Tope got a contract extension, but Steve Spagnuolo,
the whole freaking coaching staff got paid.
Yeah, well, Spagnuolo may coach himself into another head coaching spot here soon.
Yeah, that's the thing with these extensions. That's like, he got an extension, but it's not like he's locked. Like, he can still interview for a head coaching job.
I mean, listen, the New York Giants are probably going to need another head coach in a couple of months.
Hey, most of those guys got raises too. It wasn't just more years. They got bumps.
I'm sure they did very well. That'll be an interesting thing to see.
Which is good to see that Clark Hunt has the checkbook out because we're going to need it. So I think there's a lot
of conversations about
special times in Kansas City. That's the underlying theme.
100%. It's goodness. There's so much there. There's so many things there.
But hey, Spags is extended, locked him in, get him happy.
He's the guy. We talked all of the player conversations legacy. Andy, yes, adds obviously another title, another thing. He adds the back-to-back now, so we're scratching closer to the Bill Belichick conversation, even more so. All of those good things. Also, Andy has the leg up of performing with multiple quarterbacks versus one.
Doing it for completely overhauling 2 teams, 2 franchises, taking them from 0 to a lot of success. And obviously now he has the rings to show for it. But
Andy did a lot, but Steve has earned the love that he's getting before, but what he's finally getting now from national people has me actually somewhat optimistic that he gets what he deserves and gets inducted as a defensive coordinator, if nothing else,
Yeah, that'd be awesome
into the Hall.
because he is the
He's
best by
he's
far.
got all the things. He's got all the things. He's built the defenses. He's overhauled the defenses. He's walked the defenses. He shut down the best offense, the undefeated offense, that Patriots Randy Moss Tom Brady offense. He went with Patrick Mahomes to a Super Bowl and then helped Patrick Mahomes win a Super Bowl, because without that defense, they don't win a title this year. Do not get it twisted. Mahomes was great when he needed to be. That defense wrote the checks all year long. And it largely had to do with Spagnuolo. And the players have said it and said it and said it. And if the players are going to say it that much, I tend to believe the guys that are in the room every day. So
Yeah,
Spags is the guy for me of that group that had added the much to the coaching staff. That legacy, he deserves every bit of it. The only other guy to talk about is Brett Veach.
Yeah, Brett Veach is obviously a big instrumental part. He will get a lot of conversation, obviously, this offseason because, once again, it's draft season and whatnot. So Brett Veach is going to be in the topic. But, yeah, the what he's done.
Najee Johnson didn't play a snap for this team this year, and he was getting starting corner reps.
Yeah. There's definitely a lot to look forward to with next year's group. But, yeah, Brett Veach can't be understated on what his impact has been, him completely transforming this franchise and really, I mean, just drafting unbelievably. He's gotten a lot of unfair criticism, but it sure has worked out so far. Back-to-back Super Bowls, obviously. And his little speech at the parade also was pretty fun.
He's going to Canton. He's the GM of a dynasty. That's the requirement, by the way. Like that, like GMs,
and he's young
like
too. I mean, he's
the
real young.
requirement.
He's not. I don't know how old he was.
When he started, he was one of the youngest, if not the youngest, general manager in the league.
Young.
Yeah, he's 46. So I mean, he can do this for another. He'll do this for another 30 years. Probably,
well,
like if he wants to. Like that's crazy to think about. He's going to be doing this.
He's already written his ticket because, literally the requirement is run a dynasty, and that box is checked, guys. And one of only 8 dynasties to ever do the back-to-backy portion of the program. So
he will almost certainly get his flowers, and he will use his flowers right now, but he's on a very, very fast track to Canton for sure.
And they're not done yet is the most insane part.
They're not done. So with that, before we don't want to go on for too much longer, we've pretty much got most of the player and coach and impact legacies and all that stuff. Obviously, the Chiefs as a franchise moved to 4 Super Bowl titles, which is climbing the ranks. I think there's only a couple teams that are all-time above them now. Patriots, Steelers, 49ers.
Championships in the AFC West, correct?
Yep, we have now officially eclipsed that feat. We were tied with a couple other guys, and now we are at the top of that. We are at the top of that mountain.
They had a 2-trophy lead when Mahomes started.
Not anymore. So yeah, that's pretty good to see. So the last thing we'll do before we get out of here, we'll talk a little bit about the parade, the fun parts of the parade that we saw before. Obviously, the unfortunate events afterward, but there are some good times. For the first time, I think, in Kansas City parade history, it was actually a nice sunny day out there. It was like 60, 70 degrees out. It was a nice one. Yeah. It wasn't like cloudy and overcast and cold like it was for the past 2 ones.
Raining.
Rain, yeah. So that was cool. Obviously, the players had a really good time. We saw the guys get out and explore the streets. Willie Gay was on one. He might have been one of the big highlights of the parade itself.
I would never wear a shirt if I looked like that dude either. So I
mean, yeah, absolutely chiseled. Like, can't believe he's gonna get a contract from someone this offseason.
And we love Willie. He said he was out. He's probably
he pretty much confirmed that he's probably gonna be out. Which we'll talk about that. But Willie is a dog, and we love him, and he will definitely be a legend forever in Chiefs Kingdom, regardless. And that picture of him lying on the ground there will be forever immortalized as just an iconic Chiefs photo. Yeah, Isaiah Pacheco had a good run on the parade. He was having a good time.
He found Patrick.
Yeah, he sure did. Clyde was out there, which was good to see him out there, and obviously Patrick.
I should explain. Pacheco was carrying around a goat.
A baby goat with the Mahomes jersey.
He was. Someone gave him a baby goat, which is, I don't know where that goat came from, or if that goat
Kansas City, bro.
Yeah,
that's true. Hopefully that goat.
Welcome to the Midwest, y'all.
But we saw Patrick Mahomes walking out there with his shirt off at one point. It was a pretty fun parade.
Not giving the Bills fan a high five, which I thought was excellent.
Yeah, that was good.
The Drew Tranquil
Drew Tranquil really was having a day out
there.
there.
Incredible.
Oh yeah, he was having the best time of his life.
He was very much letting the city of Los Angeles know that, hey, y'all ain't got nothing compared to what this was.
Ooh, that
was
dude,
quite a statement.
boy.
Obviously, he wasn't a part of the parade that was in Los Angeles because that was for the Rams. But safe to say that the Kansas City, he's definitely enjoying his time in Kansas City, and that's a guy that I would also like to see back in a Chiefs uniform next year. But yeah, there was a lot of real fun times on that parade route. And then obviously
some of the speeches.
that was the real highlight. The speeches.
Travis's song. Oh, Taylor was just going, "Oh, honey."
Travis Kelce. I mean, people saw it. People knew it was going to happen before the parade because we saw everybody else.
We gotta pause. Travis got approval, sir. You cannot slander that performance in that manner.
You got approval.
The song's originator wants him to come open the bar that he's opening and sing that song with him. You can't. He said he loved it. Garth said he loved it and that he wanted him to come over and wanted them to come do it, and he'd send the plane to pick up Travis and his crew if he wanted to come open the bar for him with it.
Yeah. Listen,
it wasn't for everybody, but
it was a good time though. But I will say, I think a lot of people might have predicted that might be the case because before the parade kind of kicked off, we saw a lot of beers from everybody else. Everybody else on the team had a lot of Bud Lights. Patrick had some Coors. And then Travis Kelce was up on the bus with a full bottle of Don Julio, I believe.
And it wasn't full for long.
Yeah, so safe to say, by the time Travis got onto that stage, he was plastered. I mean,
there's not probably a guy that's earned it more. So,
yeah, he was definitely having a good time. I saw a lot of people relating to girlfriend out of town, time to really let loose, and he sure did. He decided to really capitalize on that situation.
He fought for his right.
Yeah, he did. He certainly did. Isaiah Pacheco actually was the one who had to say that line because I don't know if Travis even remembered.
Travis said, if you know the words, sing along, and then proceeded to pull his phone out and read.
I'm surprised he could even read those lyrics.
Well,
I'm surprised
which is what you heard
lyrics
during the if you missed it or not, he had to improvise some pieces of that because he couldn't.
Yeah, he had to improvise. Mahomes tried to save him at one point, and then the DJ tried to put the song on the end, and it was entertaining. It was definitely. There's a lot. I mean, we actually this time I see we saw a lot more speeches from players. I don't know.
Legarius got the mic.
Yeah, Legarius got the mic. Shouted out. Him and Trent were had a little moment there. Isaiah Pacheco got the mic. Chris Jones obviously got the mic up there. Justin Reed, I believe, had the mic as well. So that was
a lot more players. Yeah,
which is what we need.
I think they're learning.
Yeah, I think definitely learning from that.
Well, I think it's important to note that Leo Chenal did not scale any double-decker buses this year.
Stayed grounded. Yeah,
he didn't bend any of the bars on the side of a double-decker bus.
He controlled his inner.
I'm sure they probably had a pre-parade combo. Hey, Leo.
I'm sure there was a conversation.
Hey,
all right,
can we use
money last year?
Well, no, because he straightened the bar back out after he bent it. Remember, he fixed it.
What a nice guy.
He was like, I meant that. I fixed it. But I'm sure they were probably like, hey, can we use like the doors and like the stairs on the bus instead of the side of it, like your Spider-Man? We potentially would like you to not hurt yourself. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Hey, man, they're getting pretty good at this though. I don't think anybody.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
it was a lot of fun. And then, we already talked about the other stuff. I'm glad that we got to see a lot of the guys' families and stuff. It seemed like there was a lot more of the guys' families on the buses this year. I don't know if that was just me, but it just seemed like there were more people involved from the whole Chiefs organization and the families involved. So that was good. I enjoyed them getting to celebrate because, like Garrett mentioned, the weather had been so brutal the last couple of years.
right, yeah. And that was just a beautiful day outside, so it was good. It was good. The entire operation, and once again, we got to mention Chris Jones got up on the stage and said, "Hey, I'm staying."
He's coming back for 3 years, right? That was
back.
a 3-year deal. He said
3-year. Don't worry about the contract length, or don't worry about the money. Just go ahead, Brett. I'm sure Brett Veach was trying to track him down after, like, hey, just sign this piece of paper right here. Don't worry about it. Just sign this paper.
You don't need to call. You don't need to call the big wish.
Don't worry about your dumb agents. Yeah, they were not happy about it. Don't worry about it. You're gonna be fine. Just live on this high and sign the contract right now.
Nobody's seen you have any alcohol today, right? Okay, good.
Yeah, you're good, right? You're sober. You haven't had it. Sign. Come on, sign the contract. So, I think that's most of what to be covered.
Back to back in 3 and 5, guys. Enjoy it, man.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Obviously unprecedented times that not many people on this earth have ever gotten to experience stuff like that we're experiencing right now. So it's pretty good. Chiefs Kingdom definitely enjoy what we're doing and what we've seen, and it's not over. It's not over even a little bit. We've got a full off season. Well, I say full off season, but it's funny because our off season is kind of short. All of a sudden the combine's in like a week and a half. The draft is only like 2 months away now. It's coming up pretty quick. Free agency is going to open very soon. The franchise tag
calendar
window
is very short when we play into February.
Yeah, there's a lot on Chiefs' plate very quickly, which is what happens when you play in February every year. That will end up happening to you. So just enjoy it. Enjoy the process. We have a lot more content coming your guys' way. Our guy Arrowhead Tom down on the bottom of the screen. He's got a lot of good stuff going with Kingdom Recon. They got another episode dropping later this week, and multiple. There's gonna be a lot. There's gonna be a lot of episodes, a lot of content,
a lot of draft stuff, guys.
Yep, draft, off season, free agency, re-signing our guys. There's a lot of Chiefs free agents that are gonna be needing contracts, so we're gonna definitely touch on all that. We'll probably be back later this week to get you guys some more off-season related content for the Chiefs, but.
We can talk about Raiders blueprints and stuff.
Yeah. There's been some conversations by some people.
Already some chatter.
Yep, always some chatter. As soon as the season's over, we've got off-season
Good
champions.
For you, Antonio.
Yeah,
good for you.
So with that, we'll end it here. Thank you all so much for tuning in, watching, listening, enjoying the run that the Chiefs Kingdom has been on these past 5 years. The Dynasty is official. It is officially here, and it ain't going anywhere anytime soon. So be sure to follow us at Kingdom Says Pod on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Check us out on YouTube. Go subscribe over there. Definitely got a lot of good stuff, more lives coming on YouTube, which is going to be a big thing for us going forward.
Interactive stuff with you guys.
Yeah, getting you guys leave comments and stuff, whatnot. That's always good for us. And otherwise, you can always find us on Spotify and Apple Music as well, your favorite Spotify or your favorite podcast listening platforms. You'll probably find us on there. And we are Super Bowl champions back to back, and now it's time for the off season. So that being said, Chiefs Kingdom, thank you so much for listening and watching once again, and we'll see you guys in the next episode of The Kingdom Says.